Every soul that has brushed against yours has carried a message. And if you miss it, you may spend a lifetime searching for something you've already been given. Sometimes the most extraordinary truths in life arrive wearing the plainest clothes. The most profound changes in our hearts come not from grand events or dramatic moments, but from small, almost invisible encounters. Moments so ordinary that at first they seem like nothing at all. You see, the world has a way of speaking to us, but it rarely uses a loud voice. It whispers through people, through a stranger's glance, through a sentence overheard at a cafe, through the gentle touch of a hand on your shoulder when you didn't even realize you needed comfort. Life sends us messengers, but most of us are too busy, too distracted, or too skeptical to notice them. I know that every person who enters your life is carrying something for you. It may be a piece of wisdom, a truth you have avoided, a question that stirs your soul, or even a warning to keep you from straying off the path that is truly yours. They don't always look like sages. In fact, they almost never do. The messenger can be a child who blurts out an honest observation that slices through your pride. It can be a tired old man sitting next to you on a bus who says, without preamble, "Don't waste your time being afraid of living." It can be a friend who calls you late at night, their voice trembling, to remind you that you matter more than you think. And these messengers, they are not always aware of the role they play. Often, they will speak or act without knowing that they have just shifted something deep inside of you. They might not even remember the moment themselves, but you will. You will carry it with you for years, sometimes forever. There was a woman I met once, just briefly, while waiting in a long line at a bookstore. I remember being impatient that day, frustrated that the line was moving so slowly. She turned to me and smiled, not in that polite, empty way people smile to strangers, but with a kind of knowing warmth, as though she could see past my irritation straight into my spirit. She said, "Isn't it something? How many stories are all around us, just waiting to be heard?" That was all, just one sentence. But I left that bookstore realizing I had been so focused on getting through the line that I had forgotten to be present in it. I started noticing the faces around me, the snippets of conversations, the details in people's expressions. It awakened something in me, a curiosity, a reverence for the lives unfolding quietly beside mine. The thing about messengers is that their message often comes exactly when we need it most, even if we don't realize we need it. Sometimes you will feel the weight of it instantly. It will strike you like a bolt of lightning. Other times, the message will be like a seed, planted quietly, unnoticed, until it begins to grow months or even years later. That's the beauty of divine timing. The message never arrives early, never arrives late. It arrives in the perfect moment, though we may only recognize its perfection in hindsight. Now, here's the part most people miss. The message is not always sweet. Some messages sting. Some shake you to your core. Sometimes the messenger delivers a truth that your pride rejects, your ego resists, your heart wants to hide from. You may even dislike the person who brings it. But later, sometimes much later, you will see that they were right. You will understand that their role was not to please you, but to awaken you. It is also worth remembering that not all messengers remain in your life. Some will pass through in an instant, like a breeze carrying a scent you can't quite name. You will never know their full story. You will never see them again. But what they gave you is yours to keep. They came for that single purpose, and once their work was done, they moved on, just as you have been a messenger for others without realizing it. Because here's the other truth. You are not just the receiver of messages. You are also the deliverer. You have spoken sentences that have stayed with someone for years. You have acted in ways that shifted another person's life, even if you will never know it. A kind word to someone on the edge of giving up. An honest question that made a friend rethink their choices. A piece of advice that planted hope in someone's heart. You might have thought it was nothing, but it was everything. And so, it is wise to treat every interaction as sacred. You never know when you are speaking to someone who has been praying for a sign. You never know when the cashier ringing up your groceries has been carrying a silent grief, and your smile is the first moment of gentleness they've felt all day. You never know when the neighbor you greet absent-mindedly has been longing for someone, anyone, to acknowledge that they exist. I have come to believe that recognizing a messenger is not a matter of luck. It is a matter of attention. You have to slow down enough to really see people, to really listen. You have to move through the world with the belief that life is speaking to you through others. And when you begin to live that way, you will start to see patterns, connections, and meaning everywhere. The words of a friend will answer a question you never asked aloud. The advice from a stranger will feel as though it was pulled from your own private thoughts. You will feel less alone because you will know that life is, in its mysterious way, in constant conversation with you. Sometimes the messenger will not even speak. Sometimes the message is in the way they live. You watch them handle hardship with grace, and you learn resilience. You see the joy they carry in the simplest things, and you remember how to be grateful. You witness their courage in taking risks, and you find the bravery to take your own. Not every message needs words. Some messages are a living example of what is possible. I think of a man I once saw dancing alone in a park. No music, no audience, no performance, just movement for the sake of joy. I never spoke to him. I don't know his name, but I remember thinking, if he can choose joy so freely, so can I. That was a message delivered without a single word. And so the next time someone crosses your path, even if only for a fleeting moment, don't rush past it. Don't assume it's random. Ask yourself, what is the message here? What is life trying to tell me through this person? The answer might not be immediate. It may come later, in the quiet of your own thoughts. But it will come. Messengers are everywhere. They move through our lives like threads in a tapestry we cannot yet see the full design of. Some are bright and beautiful. Others are dark and challenging, but all are necessary. And once you start to notice them, once you begin to truly honor the role they play, you will walk through life differently. You will speak with more intention. You will listen with more reverence. You will understand that every encounter, no matter how brief, holds within it the possibility to change everything. There is a truth that takes time to understand and even more time to accept. The people in your life are not just companions, not just passing faces. They are mirrors, reflecting you back to yourself in ways both beautiful and uncomfortable. When you look into a mirror, it shows you your image exactly as it is in that moment. It doesn't flatter you, and it doesn't lie. It simply reflects what is already there. People do the same. Every relationship, every conversation, every reaction you have to another human being is, in some way, a reflection of what lives within you. There are those who will reflect your beauty, the kindness in your heart, the generosity of your spirit, the light you bring into a room. Being with them feels warm, affirming, safe. They make you believe in yourself because in their presence you see the best parts of you shining back. When someone reflects your beauty, it reminds you of who you are at your core. It shows you that you have value, that you bring something meaningful to the world. But not all mirrors are easy to look into. Some will reflect your shadows, the parts of yourself you would rather keep hidden, the pieces you deny or ignore. They will trigger you, frustrate you, maybe even make you angry. And here is where the lesson lives. When you feel a strong reaction to someone, it often says more about what's inside of you than it does about them. It is tempting to blame the mirror for what you see. But the reflection is not the cause. It is the evidence. The person who irritates you might be reflecting your own impatience. The one who judges you might be reflecting the way you judge yourself. The one who makes you feel small might be showing you a place where you have yet to claim your worth. Some people will reflect your fears back at you. They will succeed in ways you've told yourself you cannot. They will speak truths you've been afraid to voice. They will walk boldly into places you've hesitated to go. And instead of inspiring you, your first instinct may be to resent them. That is the mirror, too. It is showing you the distance between the life you have and the life you know you are capable of living. But mirrors are not placed in our lives to shame us. They are placed to awaken us. They give us the chance to see ourselves clearly, to choose whether we will remain the same or transform. Without these reflections, we would walk through life with blind spots, unaware of our own contradictions and untapped potential. When you begin to understand this truth, something shifts. You stop asking, why is this person like this? And start asking, what are they showing me about myself? You begin to see that every relationship is an opportunity for self-discovery. The friend who constantly complains, are they reflecting a part of you that leans toward negativity? The colleague who inspires you, are they showing you a version of yourself you want to grow into? Sometimes the reflection is not about personality, but about values. You may be drawn to people whose integrity, resilience, or compassion mirrors your own, even if you haven't fully recognized those qualities in yourself yet. Other times, you will be repelled by those whose actions violate your deepest principles. And that discomfort is a mirror, too, reminding you of the standards you hold sacred. And here's something else to consider. Mirrors don't only show the truth of who you are now. They can also show you the truth of who you used to be. You may encounter someone living out an old chapter of your life, speaking and acting in ways you once did. Watching them may stir compassion because you know what it feels like to stand where they are, or it may stir sadness because you remember the pain of that place. Either way, the reflection is a reminder of how far you have come and of the journey you've already walked. There is also the mirror of love, the people who believe in you even when you doubt yourself. They see strength when you feel weak, possibility when you see only obstacles. They reflect back not just who you are now, but who you can become. And when you cannot yet hold that vision for yourself, their belief can carry you until you are ready to see it in your own reflection. But perhaps the most challenging mirror of all is the one that shows you your role in the patterns of your life. If you keep finding yourself in the same kinds of relationships, facing the same conflicts, feeling the same disappointments, the common thread is you. This is not a sentence of blame, it is a gift of clarity. The mirror is telling you that until you change what is within, you will keep meeting it without. To live with this awareness is not easy. It requires humility to admit that what you see in others is often a piece of yourself. It requires courage to face the reflections you don't like. But it also brings freedom, because when you recognize that the reflection can change, you realize that you can change. And when you change, the mirrors change with you. You cannot control how others act, but you can control how you respond, what you choose to take from the reflection and what you choose to release. You can decide to use every mirror as a tool for growth, letting it sharpen your self-awareness, deepen your compassion, and expand your capacity to love, not just others, but yourself. There will always be mirrors in your life. Some will be clear and kind, others will be harsh and distorted. Your work is to see through them, past the surface, into the truth they are offering you. Because once you learn to read the reflection, every relationship becomes a teacher, and every person you meet becomes a chance to meet yourself more fully. There are people who do not come into your life to comfort you, to soothe you, or to let you stay exactly as you are. They come with a spark in their hands, a spark meant to ignite something inside you. They arrive like a sudden storm, and whether they stay for a moment or for years, they leave the air around you charged and different. They are the catalysts, and their purpose is not to keep you safe. It is to push you into the life you were meant to live. Catalysts are rarely gentle. They disrupt, they shake. They wake you from the soft, warm bed of your comfort zone and point you toward a horizon you didn't think you could reach. You may not like them at first. You may even resist them with every fiber of your being. But that resistance is the very sign that change is near. Sometimes a catalyst is a person whose courage embarrasses you into action. You watch them step into opportunities without hesitation while you have been standing still, waiting for the right moment. Seeing them leap forces you to question why you've been hesitating. You realize that the right moment is rarely given. It is claimed. Other times, a catalyst is the one who challenges your excuses. They will not nod politely when you explain why you haven't pursued your dream or why you keep tolerating a situation that drains you. They will look you in the eye and ask, "But what if you stopped waiting? What if you stopped settling?" And suddenly your excuses feel thin, fragile, unable to hold the weight of your own truth. Catalysts are not always friends. They can be rivals, competitors, or even people who frustrate you deeply. But that friction is the grindstone against which your potential sharpens. Their presence makes you rise, not because they make it easy, but because they make it impossible for you to stay the same. Some catalysts will arrive with love. They will encourage you, nurture your dreams, and believe in you so fiercely that you begin to believe in yourself. Others will arrive with challenge. They will tell you the truth you didn't want to hear, and they will not cushion it with softness. Both kinds are necessary. Both kinds are gifts. I once knew a man who lived his life in careful, predictable lines. He had a good job, a comfortable home, and a schedule that never changed. And then he met someone, briefly, unexpectedly, who asked him, "When was the last time you felt alive?" He couldn't answer. That question became a splinter in his mind. It poked at him in meetings, whispered to him during quiet evenings. Within a year, he had sold his house, left his job, and moved to a city he had only ever dreamed of visiting. He said it was as though that one conversation had switched on a light in a room he didn't know was dark. Catalysts don't just change what you do, they change how you see. They tilt your perspective, and suddenly the life you've been living feels too small, too narrow. They make you aware of possibilities you had dismissed or never considered. And once you see them, you cannot unsee them. But here is the truth. Being around a catalyst can be uncomfortable. Growth always is. They will challenge your patterns. They will make you examine the beliefs you've been carrying for years. They will not let you hide in the familiar. And if you cling to comfort, you may feel tempted to push them away. Yet if you do, you risk losing the very transformation you've been secretly longing for. Some catalysts work in small, steady ways. They plant seeds in your mind, an idea, a question, a new way of looking at yourself, and those seeds grow quietly until one day you realize your life is moving in an entirely new direction. Others bring the change like a tidal wave, sweeping away what no longer serves you and forcing you to start fresh. Both are powerful. Both are sacred. Sometimes a catalyst is not a single person, but a series of people, each pushing you one step closer to your next chapter. One introduces you to a new way of thinking. Another opens a door to an opportunity. Another shows you what's possible by living it themselves. Together, they form the chain reaction that propels you forward. And just as others have been catalysts for you, you have been a catalyst for others. You may have inspired someone without knowing it, simply by living authentically. You may have spoken a sentence that replayed in someone's mind until they finally made a change. You may have challenged someone to see their worth when they had forgotten it. Being a catalyst is not about forcing people to change. It's about being the spark that shows them they can. It is important to understand that catalysts are not meant to stay forever. Their purpose is transformation, and transformation is a process with its own seasons. Once the shift has happened, once the spark has caught and the fire of change is burning, they may move on. This is not abandonment, this is completion. And sometimes the most profound catalyst is the one you least wanted to meet. The one who broke your heart, the one who betrayed you, the one whose absence forced you to find strength you didn't know you had. Pain is a powerful teacher, and though it doesn't feel like a gift while it is happening, it can burn away what no longer belongs in your life, leaving room for something truer to grow. In the end, catalysts remind us of something we often forget. We are capable of more than we think. We are not here to simply survive. We are here to evolve, to expand, to live lives that reflect our deepest truths. And sometimes it takes another person to wake us from the quiet sleep of routine, to look us in the eyes and to say, whether with words or actions, it's time. Not every soul that walks into your life is meant to stay. Some come for a chapter, a scene, a fleeting verse in the poem of your existence. They are the season keepers, those whose presence is tied to a particular moment in your journey. They appear when you need them most, and they leave when their purpose has been fulfilled. We are often taught to hold on, to believe that every connection should be lifelong, that love and friendship should be permanent if they are real. But nature tells us a different story. The seasons do not apologize when they change. The leaves do not ask permission to fall. The snow does not feel guilty when it melts into spring. And in the same way, some relationships are not meant to last forever. They are meant to serve a season. Season keepers arrive with a certain energy, a certain lesson, a certain kind of companionship that speaks to exactly where you are in life. Maybe you're in a season of growth, and they arrive to encourage you, to push you toward your next level. Maybe you're in a season of healing, and they arrive to sit quietly beside you, holding the pieces while you learn to put yourself back together. Or maybe you're in a season of discovery, and they arrive to open doors, to introduce you to parts of yourself you had not yet met. These people can feel like destiny when they arrive. The timing is uncanny, the connection immediate, the conversations electric. You find yourself thinking, where have they been all my life? But what you don't realize, what you can't realize in that moment, is that their role is not to walk beside you for all your days. Their role is to walk beside you for the days that matter most to your current becoming. And when their season ends, it can be hard. The mind will ask why. Why did they leave? Why didn't it last? Did you do something wrong? Were you not enough? But the truth is not in blame. The truth is that their part in your story was complete. They gave you what they came to give, and it was enough. Holding on beyond that point would have been like trying to keep summer from ending. Beautiful at first, but unnatural in the end. Sometimes season keepers leave quietly. Life simply pulls you in different directions, and the closeness fades without conflict. Other times they leave suddenly, and the absence feels sharp, like a door slamming shut. And there are times when they leave in ways that hurt, disagreements, misunderstandings, choices that cannot be undone. But even then, even in the pain, there is a gift, because endings teach us to value the moments we had instead of wishing they could have been something else. Season keepers also remind us of the impermanence of life. They teach us to savor, to be fully present because we cannot know when the season will shift. When we understand this, we stop taking people for granted. We stop assuming there will always be more time. We speak the words we mean to say. We give the love we mean to give. We make memories while we can. It is important to remember that just as others are season keepers for you, you are a season keeper for them. You have been someone's comfort in their storm, someone's laughter in their loneliness, someone's encouragement in their doubt. And just as others have moved on from you, you have moved on from them, not because you stopped caring, but because your paths diverged. This is the rhythm of life, and resisting it only brings unnecessary pain. I have known people whose season in my life was short but unforgettable. A neighbor I spoke to only for a few months before moving away, yet whose kindness carried me through a difficult time. A coworker who taught me courage without ever intending to, simply by living authentically. A stranger I met while traveling, with whom I shared an evening of conversation that still lives in my heart years later. These moments were not diminished by their brevity. In some ways, their very impermanence made them more precious. And here's something else. Sometimes a season keeper returns. Life circles back, and your paths cross again in another chapter. The relationship may feel different because you are different. You are no longer the same version of yourself they once knew. But the connection remains shaped by time, ready to serve the new season you are in. The beauty of the season keepers is that they teach us to embrace the flow of connection without clinging or resisting. They teach us that love can be real even if it isn't forever. They teach us that presence matters more than permanence. And they remind us that every goodbye makes space for a new hello. Every ending opens the way for a new beginning. When you learn to honor the seasons of people in your life, you stop fearing endings. You begin to see them not as losses, but as transitions. You trust that the ones who are meant to be with you in the next chapter will be there, and the ones who are not will bless you from afar. You understand that nothing given from the heart is ever truly gone. It lives on in memory, in influence, in the quiet ways it shaped you. The season keepers are a gift, even when their departure aches. They remind you to live fully, love deeply, and release gracefully. They show you that the value of a person's presence is not measured in how long they stay, but in how profoundly they touch your life while they are here. There are people who enter our lives quietly, without announcement, without grand gestures, without the blazing drama that demands our attention. They do not arrive with the intention to fix us, nor do they speak endlessly about what we should do or who we should become. And yet, in their presence, something begins to mend. These are the hidden healers, souls whose mere way of being tends to the fractures we have learned to live with. We often expect healing to be loud, obvious, and immediate. We think it will come in the form of breakthroughs, revelations, or deep conversations that change everything in an instant. But true healing, the kind that reaches into the marrow of who we are, often comes quietly. It comes in the softness of consistency, the warmth of safety, the gentleness of someone who allows you to exist exactly as you are without demand or condition. Hidden healers may not even realize what they are doing. They are simply themselves. Kind in a way that does not ask for recognition, patient in a way that makes you feel unhurried, genuine in a way that allows you to lower your guard. Around them, you begin to exhale without realizing you've been holding your breath. You speak more freely, laugh more easily, and feel less need to hide the parts of yourself you've been protecting for years. Sometimes the healing they bring is in the way they listen. Not just hearing your words, but truly receiving them without rushing to respond, without offering solutions before you're ready. They hold space for your truth, even the messy parts, and that space becomes a kind of balm for your spirit. In their company, you remember that it is possible to be heard without being judged. Other times, the healing is in the way they show up, not with grand declarations, but in small, consistent acts of care. A check-in message on a day they had no way of knowing was hard for you. An invitation to join them in something simple, like a walk or a meal, when you had been isolating yourself. A reminder that you are thought of, valued, remembered. These moments may seem small, but they stitch you back together, thread by quiet thread. Hidden healers can also heal through their example. You watch the way they live, the way they set boundaries without guilt, the way they protect their peace, the way they find joy in ordinary moments. Without preaching a single word, they show you what it looks like to move through life with balance, self-respect, and gratitude. And as you watch, you begin to imagine that such a life might be possible for you too. The remarkable thing about hidden healers is that their power lies not in what they do, but in who they are. They are not trying to save you. They are not trying to shape you into something else. They simply live in a way that invites you back to yourself. They remind you that you are more than your wounds, more than your fears, more than the story you've been telling yourself about your limitations. Sometimes a hidden healer is someone you already know, a friend, a family member, a partner, whose role shifts into something deeper when you are in a season of pain. Sometimes they are someone you barely know, and their influence on you feels almost mysterious, like a kindness you can't quite explain. And sometimes they are complete strangers, a person who offered a helping hand when you were lost, a passerby who gave you a smile that stayed with you far longer than it should have. There is a humility to hidden healers. They don't take credit for your progress. They may not even notice the changes happening in you. They simply keep showing up, being who they are, offering what they can in the moment. And slowly, often without you realizing it, you begin to feel lighter. The weight you've been carrying doesn't disappear all at once, but piece by piece it becomes easier to bear. You may not recognize the depth of their impact until much later. One day you'll find yourself in a moment that would have once triggered you, and you'll notice that you respond differently. You'll realize you've been softer with yourself lately, that you've been more hopeful, more open. And when you trace that change back, you will find their presence somewhere in the roots. It is also worth remembering that you, too, have been a hidden healer for someone. You may not know it. You may think you've done nothing remarkable, but your words, your kindness, your quiet presence may have been the very thing that helped someone hold on, even if only for one more day. Healing does not always require awareness from the healer. Sometimes the best healing happens when you are simply living with integrity and compassion. Hidden healers remind us that not all transformation comes with fireworks. Sometimes it comes with the steady flame of a candle, small, warm, unwavering, burning quietly in the darkness until we can see our way forward again. They teach us that love in its truest form is not always dramatic. Often it is steady, often it is patient, often it is simply there. Their presence is a gift we often don't know how to repay, and maybe we're not meant to. Maybe the way we honor them is by becoming hidden healers ourselves, by moving through the world with enough kindness and patience that someone else feels safe enough to breathe again. Some people arrive in your life carrying the light of love, while others come bearing the heavy stones of difficulty. The ones who bring pain rarely knock politely before entering. They often barge in, uninvited, rearranging your peace, leaving fingerprints on your soul. Yet as much as we may resist them, these are the people who shape us in ways that joy alone never could. They become the chisels that carve strength into our spirit, the storm winds that force us to anchor deeper, the fire that tempers the steel of our character. It is easy to praise the ones who bring comfort, to write songs about them and celebrate their names. But the ones who test us, we would rather erase them from our story, pretend they never existed. Still, life has a way of turning the pain they bring into something precious if we allow it. When someone wounds us, they hand us two choices: to remain broken or to learn how to mend stronger. And in that choice, resilience is born. Pain bringers often operate without knowing their role. Sometimes they are careless, sometimes they are cruel. They may be strangers, friends, or even those we once loved deeply. Their words may cut, their actions may betray, or their absence may leave a void so vast it echoes. In the moment it feels unfair, even unbearable. But one day you look back and realize that without their impact, you would not have developed the courage to stand up, speak up, or walk away. They were the unwelcome teacher who taught you the language of endurance. Resilience is not a gift you are handed. It is a muscle built through trial. Think about the tree that grows in a windy field. The constant push and pull of the wind